This is not chemistry class, honey.
Actually, it kind of is.
All right, we've been busy today. Look at all this wine. It's the strawberry banana. All right, welcome back to part 2 of the strawberry banana wine. Look at all this wine we got. What do we got here, hon?
Well, we ended up with 25 bottles, 8 which are super sweet for me, and then the rest of them are just our normal sweet wine that we like.
Yep, and I hope you watched part 1 where we basically did the recipe part of this.
Happy it hurt when they walked out the door. Happy they left my heart broke on the floor. Happy I don't have to fight anymore.
Now, I do gotta say one thing. We got something special coming up on this channel, inspired by a trip that we took to San Juan, Puerto Rico. No. Oh, no. Somebody's biting me. Make sure, if you can figure it out, let me know, but you gotta find it on this channel, along for the journey.
Wow, it's really good.
Is
it's
it?
like
What's it taste like?
almost like a sweet yogurt. Isn't it good?
It's like a frozen snowball is how I would describe it. And make sure you
Like, subscribe, and click that notification bell.
and
Follow us on Instagram at HowToDoneRight.
because if you follow us on Instagram, you would already know what the next wine video is. All right, it's time to get our primary fermentation into our secondary carboy, which we got here. It's been in this fermenter for about 12 days. And like I said, 7 to 14 days is usually how long primary fermentation can last. So we're gonna open this up, check it with a hydrometer, and make sure it's ready to get into our carboy. Here we go. Get this off. Open it up. Ah, it smells delicious. Now remember, I got my sanitized paddle here. We don't want to stir this up at this point. We just want to move this bag over a little, enough to float our hydrometer, because there's probably dead yeast going to be at the bottom of this. And when we rack it, we don't want to disturb that. We want to get it out. So here's the sanitized hydrometer. We're just going to drop it in, and this should go all the way down. As you can see, it's probably going to be 1.0. You're shooting for 1.0 or less. And I'll get you a close-up, but we are exactly as suspected, 1.0. You follow this recipe and you're going to get to there. So what does that mean? Remember, we started at a potential of 13%. If you hit 1.0, that means your wine is at 13%. I just sanitized this shot glass. Make sure you're tasting your wine throughout the different phases, because you want to get that feel of what it should taste like. I can tell you one thing, it smells like a very strong wine. So I'm just gonna dip a little bit out. And again, if you followed this recipe, it should be very dry. You shouldn't taste any sugar because it was all converted. That's gonna be fantastic. You really taste the strawberry in there, and when we back sweeten, it'll bring that strawberry banana out. I got my sanitized carboy down below, which is a 5-gallon carboy. We might have extra here, so we'll find out here in a minute. Just gonna put this down in beside our bag, and then we'll just put the hose down in our carboy. And there we go. All we're gonna do now is start a siphon. And there we go. The wine's going down. Now, one thing you wanna make sure you do is you watched all my videos. If you're new here, don't squeeze your mess bag. It's gonna put a lot of unnecessary particles. This wine accounts with extra fruit. You're gonna have so much fruit flavor, you don't need to squeeze and get those fine particles, and it's gonna be a nightmare to get out. Did you see the color of this? It's like a very light pink. It's gonna be beautiful. That banana just added a little bit of the yellow to that red strawberry. Make sure you have your hose down underneath of your wine. And the reason for that is because it's gonna eliminate a lot of the oxygen. As this rises, it's gonna force this oxygen out. So oxygen is your enemy. Make sure you're watching my oxygen video to show you how important it is in each stage of the process of winemaking. As this goes down, I want to slowly lift this bag up because we want to just let this drip out. Again, we're not going to force it, but we also want to make sure you're watching your carboy down below because we don't want to overflow that. And I'll have to tilt this here because it's just going to be enough to fill this 5 gallon, it looks like. So here, I'll get this bag out of here and just show you. I don't know if you can see it there, but do you see all the dead yeast? That's, again, what we're trying to get out. This was exactly enough for my 5 gallon carboy. Let me get it up here and show you. So there you go, look at that. You can see it's down a little bit, but that's fine. I'm just gonna add just a little bit of water. But look, here, remember the fruit bag? There it is. There's not much fruit. This thing was filled up. So again, that's why you don't need to squeeze your bags because you're getting all that stuff is coming out into your wine. Now all we're gonna do, you can see I put this airlock on fairly quickly because we don't wanna let oxygen in at this point. So I'll just take this off, fill it up, put it in, and we're just gonna let this sit in a dark place, covered up if you don't have a dark place, and let it go for 30 to 45 days. And we'll see how clear it is and determine if it's time to add any filtering agents. So let's fast forward this 30 to 45 days and get to the next step. All right, look at this. It has been 30 days and we've got it out of that primary and put it into this secondary. Look at all this sediment at the bottom. That's what we want to get out today. All right, like I said, it's been in this carboy from the primary to the secondary for about 30 days, and it's time to rack it. I had somebody comment about racking, and I haven't been showing you. I show you racking in all my videos, but just to be clear, racking is the process of getting that sediment out at the bottom, and you're refining it. That's what we're doing. We're trying to get this wine clear at this point. So let's get our airlock off here. Get our racking cane to get this down. I got a sanitized carboy down below that we're gonna put this into. Let's get started. So there's the racking cane. Now what we wanna do is get the hose down in our carboy down below and we'll just get a siphon going. Smell that? It smells like strawberry banana wine. What we're gonna do, you can see it's not real clear yet. That's why we're racking this. Eventually get this clear. I'm doing a little something different. Usually, sometimes I'll put the bentonite in that carboy down below, but I wanna rack this again because it's just not clear enough yet. So you can see, we didn't waste much here, but that's the dead yeast at the bottom. That's what we're trying to get out each time. We got a little headspace. We wanna clear that up by putting either water in. As long as you don't have much, you could add a little water. This is not considered much. This is maybe a bottle of wine. And I like to use wine for topping off whenever I can. You see how clear that wine is? That's what we're trying to get to with this. A lot of people will use juice. If you could get a strawberry juice, you could do that, but you're gonna add more sediment in there and fine particles, which is what we're trying to do to get this out. I might have to add just a little bit of water on top of this. So just wanna get it up where it starts to get narrow. Again, that's why they make these carboys in this shape. Eliminate as much surface space as possible. There we go. That's where I want it. That's where I'm done. Sanitize your airlock again and get that on. Now, we'll just let this sit again, probably for another 30 to 45 days. We're getting ready to take some cruises, so I'll be back on and off on this batch, but I can't wait because it's two of my favorites. All right, look at this strawberry banana one. I can't wait to smell this. I gotta get this off of here. I smell the strawberries in there, not the bananas yet. That'll come back when we back sweeten it, but it's time to get things sanitized and get this racked using our bentonite. All right, we got our bentonite. You just want to follow according to your directions because each pack may be different. For this one, you need 2 teaspoons of bentonite for a half a cup of warm water. So that's what I got, a half a cup of warm water. We're gonna put 2 teaspoons of this in here and then we're gonna mix it up. And this is sufficient for 5 gallons of wine. My favorite, bentonite. Now, I will just consistently stir this up until I get milkshake consistency. And then we're gonna add it to the bottom of our carboy. So there, I hope you can see that there. It's kind of like a milkshake. That's what you're aiming for. Just a slurry. So here we go. We're just adding our bentonite to the bottom of this carboy that we're gonna rack the rest of the wine into. Get all that out. And if it's not stirred in totally, you're gonna stir this for a couple days and it'll get mixed in. All right, so the carboy, I got down here the carboy with that bentonite you just saw us put in. So now we got our sanitized racking cane. We're gonna get the end of the hose down in this other carboy. And what this is doing is filtering out our sediment. That's what we're trying to do each time we rack this. There we go. We're gonna stay as far away from that sediment on the bottom you saw there. So it's starting to clear up nice. Let's just fast forward and I'm gonna show you what this looks like when we get it down here. And of course my camera malfunctioned when I got to the bottom of here, but I slowly tilted that bottle and you can see that's sediment. That's what we wanted to get out. All right, you notice one thing when it was down there. I put the airlock on right away. Oxygen is your enemy at this point, but you can see we got a little bit of headspace. That's hardly any at all. Normally, I would just top this off with water, but I like to top off with wine when I have it. But when you're new in the hobby, you might not have topping wine. You can add a little bit of water to this with no problem. Make sure you're watching a video. I show you that is the most common problem is what to do. And I give you all kinds of ideas. Ah, that smells good. I think I should have a video on how to make strawberry pomegranate. So make sure you're watching that. Again, we're gonna just add some of this. Not much because I gotta be able to get a stick in here and stir it. I've always messed that up and put too much in. So I'm just gonna put a little bit just to where it starts to curve here usually. And the rest we'll have for dinner. I think that's perfect. I got my stir stick. I got my sanitizer here. Well, you wanna make sure you're sanitizing your stir stick and everything, all your equipment. If you're gonna fail, it's because you didn't sanitize. I got links to everything you see on this channel in the description. So if you need anything, can't find it, look down below in the description. And remember, we got that bentonite down there, so that's what we're stirring in. We're charging this up, that bentonite, and that's gonna pull all this fine stuff out. And when you're doing a tip, do it close to a sink because I've had these break at this point. So just be careful. And we're gonna do this for the next 3 to 5 days. And then we're gonna let it sit until you think it's clear enough to bottle. Usually after one shot of bentonite, it's ready to bottle. Now, one other thing, a lot of people always ask, do I degas my wine? And the reason I don't is because this is doing it for us. We're killing 2 birds with 1 stone today. Dude, I hope you like the bentonite stage. The next thing I'm gonna show you is the bottling. I've been waiting a long time for this one. We took our time with this because I wanted to make it perfect. It's bottling day, honey. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What you got down there?
This is the chocolate Merlot
Hold
that we're
that
gonna
up because
taste.
we can't see it.
Yeah, we're gonna taste that. Make sure you watch our video where we show you how to add that flavoring because we did a peanut butter, which I love. Todd's not a fan, but I love it. We did the chocolate, we did cherry, we did cotton candy. So make sure you check that video out.
We've racked this, I think, like 3 times. I actually did an extra racking in, but when you get to this point before bottling, which we're gonna taste this should be very dry at this point. That's why we what?
Back-sweeten.
Back-sweeten. And I already got that on the stove and you'll see it here. Do you want to taste this?
Yeah.
The strawberry banana. Real dry, isn't it?
Yeah.
It should be very dry.
It is, but it still has a really good, unique flavor.
This is what we're gonna need to bottle our wine. You gotta have sanitizer, sugar for back-sweeten. If you're making it dry, you might not need that. Potassium sorbate stabilizer and Camden tablets. You know by now, we love Star San. That's what we use to sanitize our stuff. And make sure you're sanitizing in this hobby. You've seen us do it in part 1 and we're sanitizing in part 2. And make sure you're sanitizing your corks. We're gonna need 4 to 5 corks per gallon. You wanna sanitize this because number 1, it's gonna cleanse them. And number 2, it's going to make them easier to go into your bottles. Now, since we're back sweetening our wine, we need sugar. We want to get this on the stove. Generally, I'll use 1 cup of sugar per gallon. So that's 5 cups, but I'm going to probably be using a little bit more. So I'm going to add 6 cups. We may not use all this, but I don't want to mix another batch. So now we're just making a simple syrup. We got our 6 cups of sugar. We're going to put that in this pot, and then I'm going to get 6 cups of water. And there's our 6 cups of water. Get that in. No exact measurement. We're just trying to get this dissolved and get a simple syrup to back sweeten our wine. If you're making fruit wine, back sweeten. Now, we're just going to keep stirring this. Again, we don't want to burn the sugar. I told you that many times. We just want to get this crystal clear. So this is about where you want. I'm starting to see some bubbles form, but do you see how clear? I've rushed this a few times, so just make sure it's clear because you don't want to see anything floating in your wine. All right, we got our sanitized bucket right here, and now it's time to get our additives in because we're going to rack the wine on top of these additives. So what are you going to put in there, honey?
We have the Camden tablets, and we're doing a 5-gallon batch. You need 1 Camden tablet per gallon, so we're going to use 5. Crush them up, put them in.
And there you go. That's the 5.
And then next, potassium sorbate. You're going to put this in to stop your yeast from fermenting.
Yes, and that will also prevent blowing corks. What are you putting in there?
Oh yeah, half a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon per gallon, so
Yes.
we want 5 half teaspoons.
Yeah.
And that's it. Let's get the wine on top of this stuff. So this is my wife's favorite thing to do, isn't it?
One of them, sure.
Washing bottles. How many we got?
Well, you want to use 4 to 5 per gallon. So we're doing a 5-gallon batch today. So we have about 25, 26 bottles.
And remember, we probably got a good half gallon over there in sweetener that we'll add some more. So I just do 1 or 2 extra bottles just in case.
Okay. The other thing too is don't be afraid to recycle bottles. We have friends give us their empty bottles and we recycle them and take them on the cruise.
Now it's time to finally get it racked onto those additives we put in here. So let's get this off. And we got our racking cane, again, all sanitized. And we're gonna put this hose down in our bucket where the additives are, and this in here. And we're just gonna start the siphon. Do you smell it, honey?
I smell it.
Strawberry, banana. Now, I had an interesting comment this week that somebody said, do I have to rack it when it's crystal clear? No. This is good to drink right after you've put it all together, but you don't have to have it clear. It's just that's what everybody strives for. And there you can see the wine going down in our bucket. And the reason we're putting it in this bucket, number one, is to get the sediment out, but also we're gonna back sweeten it right into this bucket and get it to where we want, taste test it. All right, it's going down in there. So remember, we wanna keep the racking cane as far away. If you waste a little bit in this stage, that's perfectly fine, right?
That is one thing I've learned. Don't get near the bottom.
Don't get near the bottom. I'm just gonna sanitize my lid here and keep it covered down below because again, we wanna keep some oxygen out as much as we can. It's not gonna turn to vinegar right away though. So I'm just slowly tilting this and dropping the siphon down a little bit. If you see any of that sediment get in, just put it down and it'll stop. I think I'm gonna stop right there. And that's it. So you can see we wasted a little bit there. I don't know, it's probably like a half a bottle, but don't worry about that. It's the junk at the bottom we gotta keep out. All right, remember, we just put the additives on the bottom here. We wanna get our sanitized paddle and just gently stir these additives in a little bit. Now, the introduction of oxygen at this point, it's gonna take a while to turn it to vinegar, so you have time. I know I say rush it as much as you can, but you've got time. All right, if you want a dry wine, you can just bottle a couple. Now, you've seen it in all our videos. Sometimes we'll bottle 5 dry, but my wife doesn't like it dry, do you?
Now, so if you like it sweet, back sweeten your wine and add it slowly until you get to the taste that you want.
We're going to put about a half of this in, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not quite a half. Keep going.
You tell me when to stop.
Keep going. Keep going. Now we're going to stir that simple syrup in. And then my wife we got a sanitized straw. She's got a shot glass. And I already know what she's going to say. What?
It needs more.
It ain't sweet enough. And maybe we'll do a couple semi-sweet, because that's where I like it. She likes it a little bit sweeter.
It's really good, but I do want it sweeter. You taste.
And you just repeat this process. Add to where you like it, stir and taste. We might bottle some semi-sweet and then do some sweet. What?
Why can't we just make it all sweet?
I told you. Happy
Well, it's
wife,
for us.
happy wine.
Can I just do the rest?
No, half of that.
Do you think the sugar goes all the way to the bottom? Kind of move it around?
This is not chemistry class, honey. If you mix gasoline and oil and water, what happens?
They separate. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Is that it?
Yeah. Tell me what you think. Gosh, that's good.
And we're finally bottling wine. How many bottles we got down here, did you say, honey?
Here we have 20 because I'm saving 5 for that extra sweet wine that I want.
Yep. And then we'll get these bottled and we'll get them corked.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, hon. It's time to bottle these.
No, cork.
What did I say?
You said bottle. That's all right.
All right, here we go. We got how many?
25.
And how many were sweet?
8. We actually made 8 sweet ones.
We actually added the extra sweetness that we had left over. And this is my wife getting every last drop and making a mess. I knew that. Whoa. That might be a bottle. We might have to bottle that.
No, we'll just leave it in my Yeti.
And make sure you put your wine bottles laying down for a couple of days. Usually 7 to 14 days will be fine. But this, if you have one bottle that might leak or you had a malfunction cork, you'll be able to catch it quickly. So we're gonna put all our bottles in here.
Baby, you and me, we deserve